Shalom! This week, we're standing in front of Rabbi Weil's F-150, the big black Ford monster. This week is the Weil's family simcha, Josh's bar mitzvah, and in honor of it, we decided to do the Dvar Torah in front of this baby. This is a very exciting parsha, Taizaih, discusses many topics that are of interest even in contemporary times. For instance, the idea of who is a Jew and the idea of conversion are both hinted to in this week's parsha. I would suggest that this Shabbos you take out your Chumash, maybe the commentary of the Ramban, and really delve through the ideas. I promise you won't be disappointed. The mitzvah of the Dvar Torah is a mitzvah when the Jewish army goes out to war, and a soldier, in the midst of war, when his instincts are at its peak, sees a woman, a non-Jewish woman, a Gentile, he has taken captive and he wants to marry her. The Torah allows it, but under very circumstanced laws, and it's very detailed and very hard to accomplish. The idea, as Rashi explains, is that the Torah dibra keneged yetzer hara. The Torah talks against man's desires and man's instincts. Interesting idea. But it seems to be contradicted by a Gemara in Kiddushin that discusses the idea that Hashem created the yetzer hara, man's instincts, and then He created the Torah as an antidote for that yetzer hara. It seems to be that the idea that Rashi expresses that in Dvar Torah, that the Torah gives into man's instincts, is contradicted by this Gemara that the Torah goes against man's instincts. How do we understand that contradiction? I think the answer is the idea that the Torah never talks to the extreme. The Torah is always in the middle ground. And that's an idea that we have to incorporate into our... The Torah never talks to the extreme. The Torah is always in the middle ground. And that's an idea that we have to incorporate into our lives. The Torah doesn't try to hinder the instincts. It doesn't try to get rid of our instinctual drive. It recognizes the instinctual drive. Rather, the Torah's idea of perfection is the channeling of the instinctual drive. This idea is reflected most when it comes to the sexual. The Torah doesn't forbid the sexual activity, doesn't look down upon it, but channels it. Certain times it's permitted, certain times it's even a mitzvah, and certain times it's absolutely forbidden. That's the idea when it comes to the Dvar Torah. The Torah isn't forbidding man's instinctual drive, it's recognizing how high the instinctual drive for the soldier is. And it's telling it that it can give into that instinctual drive, but it has to channel it. Man cannot be completely ruled by his impulses. That's the idea of the parsha, and it's an interesting one to note for our own lives and make it practical in our own lives by recognizing that the Torah is not trying to hamper or hinder our desires. Rather, the idea behind the Torah is to channel those desires, to allow us to perfect ourselves through ultimately not leading our lives on an instinctual, emotional basis, but one that's ruled by the intellect, and therefore, and only then, added in by the emotional. Have an intellectual, thought-out Shabbos.